the way we perceive ourselves is everything, because the world will always agree with you. When you love yourself, it's a very high vibration and everything changes. People treat you differently.
But AI can be a manifestation trap. So, how can we not get into that trap, but at the same time treat AI well and use it consciously to create the desired reality and manifest it? For our viewers, can you give one particular prompt which can help them?
And it's so persistent. Einstein told us this: reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. And it's so this is my truth for whoever is ready. You are all the power. You embody light because that's who you are. Negativity will dissolve on its own. Don't focus on that. It's like you are an eternal spiritual being having a temporary human experience in a realm of seeming separation, but this seeming separation is so real and it's designed to be like this. And so the mirror principle is like this. Nevil Goddard has a technique called the pruning shears of revision. It's a
Hi, this is Akanksshaa. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. If you resonate with me, please like, comment, and share. Welcome to Multidimensional Soul Podcast and a Talk Show. On this show, we have with us today Fernando Marino, who's a light leader all the way from Brazil. A very warm welcome, Fernando, on Multidimensional Soul Podcast and Talk Show. It's lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. It's an honor.
It's an honor for me too. This is part 2 of a 2-part conversation. If you have not watched part 1, then we highly recommend that you watch that. The link for that is provided in the video description. You often talk about mirroring principle. So, can you talk a little bit about that and how has it helped you and how can it help people?
Sure. So the mirror principle is all about Ho'oponopono. I feel like all of these things are talking about the same thing in the end. Quantum physics, Neville Goddard, the mirror principle, Ho'oponopono. It's like in the end, it's all the same thing. It's like you are an eternal spiritual being having a temporary human experience in a realm of seeming separation, but this seeming separation is so real and it's designed to be like this. It's unbelievable. Sometimes I'm like wondering about cosmic things and I'm like looking at the walls and I'm like, this is so like nothing beyond source or the cosmos would be able to create such a reality. It's unbelievable. And it's so persistent. Einstein told us this: reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. And it's tricking us at all times. And so the mirror principle is, again, a metaphysical principle that reminds us that there's no out there, and that what we see in the outside world is a reflection back to us. You know, in Ho'oponopono, we say that you have memories in your subconscious mind that are replaying, and these memories don't go on vacation, and so you have to keep cleaning incessantly. And this is what Dr. Hugh Len used to say. And so the mirror principle is basically the same thing. What you experience in the outside world, that's not even out there, is a reflection of your inner world. In other words, as within, so without. So you don't like your results? Go within. Is it easy to go within? Not always, because we haven't been trained for that. I mean, you're from India, right? So your perspective is probably very different from mine. You know what I mean? Like Like, we don't meditate when we go to school. We're just trained to use our logical minds. And if you don't do it well, you will feel like a misfit. You will think that you're broken. And these are programs that ultimately get installed in your mind. And then you have the rest of your life to transmute that or not. But then again, we chose everything. You know what I mean? So I chose to be born where I was born, the family, so that I could accomplish my mission. And so nothing is out of place. And so the mirror principle is like this. You don't expect the reflection to change before you change your expression, to put it simply. And so if you see a frowny face in a mirror, don't scratch the mirror. Don't, or as I like to say, don't touch the 3D, guys. Just go within. A metaphor that I like for this is the printer metaphor. You have a file in your computer and it's a text. It's a doc file and there's a typo in the file, or maybe multiple typos. And the printer is printing out that file. And then you take the page and you hate the typo and you're resenting the typo and you're scratching the typo and you're writing over it. But the printer is still printing the same file with the same typo, and you're having a horrible time because you're fighting all the pages. And then maybe you take your page to therapy and you talk about how horrible the typo is, and you're just amplifying the problem when the page is just a mirror. It's saying there is a problem in the file, go back to the file, correct the mistake, and the reflections, the printouts, will reflect something different for you. And so this is the mirror principle in a nutshell. But then again, this is a journey. It's not something we can understand something intellectually, but integrating it is something else. And we're here for this. Me understanding the mirror principle doesn't make me above it. I don't think anyone is above it when we're having the human experience, because it's the human experience, unless you're like a super enlightened being, like walking on earth, maybe. But for the most of us, it's very tricky. And so I dedicate my existence in this life to walk this path. I'm here for this.
Amazing. You have shared blueprint for the mirror principle. So can you briefly share it for our audience?
The idea of having a problem show up for you, right?
Yeah.
How do I change that? Well, cleaning with Ho'oponopono is one of the things. So, because it's about the triggers. So triggers are gold mines, okay? But the thing is, triggers feel very uncomfortable. Like the Reiki woman triggered a very deep wound that was created probably when I was in ninth grade, if not before. But what I remember is when I was not ninth grade, I'm sorry, third grade, when I was 9 years old. I always mix those up. When I was in third grade, 9 years old, the wound was there installed. And then the Reiki woman comes up and then she triggers me. And when we're triggered, it feels very uncomfortable and it gets us out of alignment and it takes our presence away. So the first thing to remember is that if we're feeling triggered, it's because that frequency is active in your field. So if that trigger is showing up for you, that's the mirror. That is the 3D world reflecting you back to you via teachers. Now, it doesn't seem like that, okay? It does not seem like she's a teacher and that she's helping me out. It doesn't. The ego doesn't like it. It feels uncomfortable. But this is how to apply the mirror principle. So if you've never done it and you want to try it out, you just watch your triggers. The next time you're triggered, you will apply this to the best of your ability. And it's okay if it doesn't go too well the first time around, okay? So you watch your trigger and you get to ask yourself, what is the lesson in this? What is the lesson in this? Everything contains a lesson. Everything has a lesson in it. Everything. Everything. Suzanne Giesemann says this, and I resonate so deeply with this. She's like, if something strange is happening, you to get out of attaching and becoming the negative energy, how to stay neutral? You say, interesting. Isn't that interesting? This phrase alone is your lifeline, okay? It will keep you at a neutral place at least, because it's so, I don't like to affirm this, but we've been trained to just slip and fall into the traps, right? And so you're triggered. What is the lesson in this? Isn't this interesting? And then you begin to look at it objectively instead of becoming the chaos itself. And so pay attention to your trigger. Ask yourself what kind of a lesson can be in that experience. You might get an answer right away, maybe not. Keep asking. If you meditate, that's great. Connecting with your guides, you can ask, guys, what is the lesson in this? I can't see it. I can't seem to find it. And so you just keep at it instead of fighting it. And so when you begin transmuting that and cleaning that frequency that was active in your field and that was causing the reflection back to you, it will change. It has no option but to change. And so if it keeps showing up for you, it's because it's still active. Because the ego might say, oh, we've transmuted that. We've done it. But if it's showing up for you, it's the mirror. It's the mirror. It's literally like a mirror. You have a smudge on your face. It's on you, girl. You know what I mean? So you get to keep wiping it with love. Always with love. We are never supposed to beat ourselves up, because if you're working on this and then you begin beating yourself up because the reflection is still showing, then you're still slipping back. And so yeah, the mirror principle is about looking at the outside world as a mirror back to you. You don't like what they're doing to you? If you play the victim, you've fallen asleep in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And I can resonate with regards to your experiences about transmuting the negativity. But I would like to go a step further than that.
Okay.
Because as light workers, and you're aware that we are doing the work for the ascension.
Yeah.
What is happening is the light workers are facing dark entity attacks. And these are much worse than the normal negativity that we see in the world. And they happen at a very, at the astral level, in the dream state and all that. And these are not because we've not worked on ourselves, but essentially some of these entities feed on your light. And that is why again and again and again they will keep coming to you. So in such, like, these are very intense, serious kind of situations where you are kind of attacked again and again. What do you suggest that we do in these kind of situations?
In short, turn up your light. Now, let me elaborate on that. I am a firm believer that we are the light. I am the light. You're the light. And this is also what I speak on in my channel. You are the light. And I also resonate with Suzanne Giesemann because, and this is something I felt even before I discovered her. And the reason I resonated with her so much is also because of that. She's like, I've never done any sort of shielding practice ever at all during my practices. Why? Because I'm the light. And I believe this so deeply. And so when you walk into a dark room and you see the darkness, what happens when you flip the light switch on? darkness disappears. It just disappears. And so we are the light. I see sometimes online and in spiritual conversations, even some podcasts that focus on that persistently. I don't resonate with that, and I refuse to be a part of anything that reinforces anything that's fear-based. I don't know if this resonates with everyone listening to this. I'm speaking my truth unapologetically here because this is, I'm speaking from my heart, you know. And so we are so powerful, but so powerful that the moment we begin considering possibilities or ideas of coming in contact with negative entities, we begin opening a door for that to happen, because then we become a vibrational match to that. And so this is what I believe in. Maybe this is not, I mean, people have different experiences, okay? And this is not to make light of other people's experiences. But whenever I think of this kind of subject, or whenever I'm asked about this is what I have to say. Turn up your light. Turn up your light, because you are the light. And so when you embody light and you come from the knowing, it's not believing, it's knowing. Knowing trumps everything. You know, like you know, like you know. And you can give a command because your word is decree. And I get the goosebumps just saying this. This is something that really, this is really, really my truth. And so you just turn up your light, you know, because the negativity dissolves. In Brazil, religions, and especially the spiritual religions, the Afro-Brazilian spiritual religions, they are very, very, very fear-based. And now in hindsight, I understand why I never resonated with any of that. I was so scared. I didn't understand spirituality, so I felt like, oh, it's this thing that I don't know of and that they do, but it's so strange and like there's no resonance here. And so after having had my awakening, and I resonate with the level of consciousness in general, more of spirituality, say in the US, which is where I'm mentally, you know, it's this egregore where I take part in. When I think of Brazil and the religions here, for me, it's like it's misaligned because it's so fear based. It's like, and my sister walked this path before I had my awakening, and she fell for that. She thought she had to go to the centers to receive the cleaning, because if she didn't, she would be preyed upon. And she lived that life, and she experienced that throughout many years. And then I had my awakening. We were never really close. But then her life took 180 turn last year. And because of that, we began talking. And now we're like so close. And I began sharing my truth with her. And again, goosebumps all over. And it began resonating with her, and she began applying it. Now she's like, I am all the power. Like I lived a miserable life believing that I was less than, and that I needed the help of these institutions that were cleaning me. But she stepped into her power, and she has never felt better. So this is my truth for whoever is ready. You are all the power. You embody light because that's who you are. Negativity will dissolve on its own. Don't focus on that. This is what I have to say.
You talk about mastering mind projection. So, can you explain that a little bit?
Do you mean the projection of consciousness that we see as the 3D world?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how to
Because
master. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
sorry, because some time back, you also talked about knowing the soul contracts and a soul blueprint first, and remembering it, and then knowing that, okay, we need to work for our energy and our mind, because others are uh, there to teach us lessons as we are going through our life based on the soul contract. When you talk about mastering mind projection, how is that related? Can you just explain that?
Yeah, so it's how to master the third dimensional experience through the perspective of soul contracts.
Yeah.
Uh, well, I think that's beautiful. What comes to mind now listening to this question is, and I think this ties back to most of the things I've already said, but to me it feels like not falling asleep in the game and seeing not only the reflections, the experiences, but also the people in your life who are playing a service of love to you and you to them. And so I feel like mastering the projection in this sense means learning the lesson contained in every experience, especially the negative ones that challenge us. And so this is what's coming to mind as you ask me this question, and I could probably go on about it, but it feels to me like I'm going to again resort back to talking about not playing the victim and using the situations as leverage for growth, because these things are stepping stones. I can talk about my former partner, maybe to illustrate this. See if this makes sense. I really want to answer your question, right? So tell me if I'm addressing what you're asking me. But so we were together for 9 years, and when we met, I was on a timeline where I was doing a lot of drugs. I was drinking to excess because I had a horrible time growing up. And when I was like 17 years old, I began drinking. And it was amazing because now I can, talk to people and it feels good, because it was always very uncomfortable for me to interact and to socialize. I've always felt very awkward. And so drinking opened this door and it helped me go through those tough years. But I was 30 when we met, and I had surfed those timelines for way too long, and it was time for me to shift. And so we were ready, and so we got together. So we were able to start the contract that we made before coming, and we lived many years together. I stopped doing drugs like I did before, but I kept drinking. And so he was able to reflect so much back to me. It was not always comfortable, but I began paying attention even prior to my awakening, because this was all before I had my spiritual awakening. But I began paying attention and I began shifting and paying attention and going like, oh, maybe I do have a drinking problem. Because when I heard that, I was like, what? A drinking problem? That's absurd. That's how it felt to me. And so I began paying attention and going like, oh, I think it's true. And then ultimately I quit drinking, and we were still together. We were still learning, but I was learning from the reflections. So I'm tapping into mastering the projection here. So I'm beginning to pay attention to things. What's going on here? And so we were fulfilling a contract as partners. And then I quit drinking, and then I had a pre-awakening. In hindsight, that's what it was for me. I had a pre-awakening 1 year later, I had my actual awakening. If I kept drinking, I don't think I would have had an awakening. So it was a huge blessing. And we were still together, and he was still challenging me. He was still challenging me in a way that sometimes felt a little abusive or too pushy or too tough. But I had had the awakening, and so I decided to do it differently. Because before the awakening, we would go to therapy together, we would amplify the problem, I would leave the sessions feeling worse. It was horrible. And so I had the awakening. I had stopped drinking. I was already changing. I was already becoming someone different. And then I had the awakening, and the challenges were still present in the relationship. I felt like leaving the relationship. You know what? The author of The Secret is such a. I'm going to go on a tangent here real quick. The Secret is such a famous and popular book and documentary. And everything that's so mainstream and so popular can easily become like a target for in terms of criticism. It's like, oh, this is too superficial and this is too whatever. And it is superficial in many ways. But what this woman taught me from the get go, I will be so grateful for her. She taught me so much right from the beginning. And one of the things was, if you have a difficult relationship, you get to focus on what's good. Goosebumps all over. You get to focus on what you're grateful for in that relationship. Of course, if you're being physically abused, that's something else. It was not the case with me. It was just a relationship that, had its ups and downs. And so that's what I did. Because I had the awakening, I felt like leaving, but I said, you know what? I'm going to do what she's saying. And I began focusing on everything that was good in that relationship, because there were so many things. So many things. The fact that I was able to see that I had a drinking problem, it was such a blessing. And I quit drinking and I have an awakening. And so that's what I began doing. And I clean and I thank and I'm grateful. And when something strange shows up, what do? I turn my back. That's what you get to do. You see negative entities, you see negativity, turn your back. Just turn your back, because then you don't amplify that. You are so powerful. And so that's what I did. A few months later, he decides to move out and go to the beach to live seaside. And he's like, do you want to come with me? I'm like, thank you, but I'm good. And it was the friendliest, easiest split up I have ever seen. So to me, that's mastering the projection. Okay. So hopefully this example clarifies what I mean by that. Don't touch the 3D. This sums it up. And so we're friends. Sometimes we see each other and we have an amazing relationship as friends. If I had touched the relationship and tried to change the other person, you're just getting your hands dirty. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So powerful.
Thank you. It is powerful. I think it's pretty powerful. Yeah.
It is powerful. It takes courage, first of all, to accept that, okay, these are the problems, and then to go within, and rather than blaming the other person, take
I
responsibility.
know. Yeah. I'm sorry. Exactly. The blame game will get us nowhere.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add something that I also did when, in the last months with my partner. Nevil Goddard has a technique called the pruning shears of revision. It's amazing. The past is not set in stone. This is an illusion. It's not even real. Like, we're so attached, right? And it's tough sometimes when you're going through it. It's the human experience. I know it felt uncomfortable for me. But in those last months, when we would, he would, start an argument or something, I would feel bad and I would do Ho'oponopono. The pruning shears of revision means you go through something you don't like, you're past that, and then you go within to the quantum field, which is the fundamental field, and then you revise that scene in your mind, but with the outcome that's favorable, with the outcome that serves you, with the outcome that lights you up and that expands you. Again, not always easy necessarily, but you rewrite it. And as you do that, and I did that, it shifts your vibration, which means it takes you from chaos back to light, even if it's just a little bit. Okay. So I think this also helps with mastering the projection. Yeah.
And it's a beautiful technique to move into higher vibrational timeline.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, because it's a matter of choice. It's a matter of choice. And so if we choose love no matter what, and if we choose to entertain an outcome that's more favorable, even when it's not the easiest, we're we're already ahead of the game because it's so easy to play the blame game. It's just so easy. The ego loves it. By the way, there's something I also like to say every now and then, which is very powerful. The the loudness of your ego and your level of vibration, they are directly correlated. It's like a seesaw. Okay. So the louder your ego is, the lower your frequency is. There's no way out of it. You know what I mean? So if your ego is screaming, it's like frequency is a little low. What baby step can I take right now to maybe increase it a little bit? You go from hatred to apathy. That's a step. You don't need to leap all the way to unconditional love, right? And so it's directly correlated. So this also helps for you to gauge what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Neville Goddard's technique because it's not just creating a different timeline, it's also shifting your reality.
It's beautiful, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure. Thank you for asking. Yeah.
When we talk about shifting reality, and your most popular video is about self love and self worth, how
Yeah.
does that help in manifesting the desired reality?
Oh man, I could just, have one whole podcast conversation just on self-love. This is a very deep one for me. It's a very personal one for me because I started walking the self-love journey and it's been amplifying more and more, and I am so in love with myself right now. It's beyond words. I don't think I can explain it the way it feels because it's so deep, but the way we perceive ourselves is everything because the world will always agree with you, like with the ideas you hold, because the mirror principle, because the mind projection. Again, it's all the same thing, right? Of course, the mind might jump in and be like, but that's not an agreement with what I have inside because the mind thinks it knows everything. But if it's a reflection to you, trust that the universe is reflecting that because that's also something that people have a problem with. The mind jumps in and begins making exceptions for universal truth. And so this is not a game. This is not a game I play. If I don't understand the correlation, I know I'm not seeing it, but there's something underneath it. And so I trust all the reflections in my video game. And so I used to kind of resent myself in many ways. I didn't like my voice. I didn't like the color of my skin. I didn't like my teeth. I didn't like the way I showed up in the world. I didn't like the way I socialized. And so a lot of times I would have a social interaction and then I would be going over and over and over that situation in my head, blaming myself. It was horrible. And the world kept reflecting that back to me because the universe, which again is you, is wanting to help you transmute. Well, you came here to transmute. And so when you don't love yourself, you are holding on to stuff that is not true. That's what it is. If your mind is saying stuff about yourself, anything that is not perfection, if your mind is telling stuff about you that's anything but perfection, don't believe it. It's a lie. You are a perfect, divine, cosmic being. You chose the body that you chose. You chose the whole experience that you chose, you know, to live this time around, to expand as a soul. Okay. And so when we don't love ourselves, we are literally holding on to frequencies that don't serve us and that are seeking transmutation. Poor frequencies, they want to be released, and you are the gatekeeper. You are the one who can literally do it. You are so powerful. And so the moment we begin loving ourselves, all this junk gets to be transmuted back to light. And so my experience and my journey with self-love began early on in my spiritual journey when I had my awakening. And I learned this with Louise Hay. She started me on this path. Okay, of course I developed it further after that, but I began, like a morning practice, waking up, going to the bathroom, looking at myself in the mirror, and literally going like this: Fernando, I love you. And you're looking at yourself in the eyes, and it's uncomfortable in the beginning. It's like, it's kind of cringe a little bit, but if you keep at it, and I knew better, thankfully, to keep at it, it begins to soften. The mirror gazing softens, and something begins to shift. Now, a little later, I embarked on a journey called semen retention, which is a practice. Well, semen retention is for guys because semen, but semen retention is about sexual energy transmutation. And the first time I heard of this, I thought it was the weirdest thing. I was like, well, are you kidding? What? And it was like a Napoleon Hill video on YouTube, and I dismissed it. 1 year goes by, and then I keep seeing videos on YouTube about retaining your sexual power, not releasing your life fluid, semen for guys. And then I see one video, and then another video, and then another one. I'm like, wait a second, this is a video game. Am I going to fall asleep, or am I going to pay attention to the reflections? And this, in my opinion, is also about mastering the projection. Is like, are we paying attention? Because socializing is a lullaby. The projection itself is a lullaby, and it's always trying to get us to fall back to sleep, right? And so I was like, there's something here. I don't believe in coincidences at all. At all. Some people do. I personally don't. And so I paid attention, and I began exploring the sexual transmutation energy journey. And I couldn't make a final decision, or I couldn't come to a final conclusion about the whole thing, but I thought, I get to experiment with this. I can try it out for myself and see what happens. And so I decided to embark on the semen retention journey. Oh boy, oh boy. My self-love journey exploded to the point of me like glimpsing at the mirror and going like, oh my gosh, my heart just skipped a beat. Like I can't put words to it, okay? Aside from this. And so I've been on it for over a year. And the way I see sexual energy now, and sexuality in general, it's so sacred. It is so sacred. And so today I have rituals, reverence. It's a whole thing, okay? And I remember thinking a few months back, while I was writing the creative ebb with my channel, and reaching full financial freedom, I remember thinking, and this is very deep for me, if I never make it financially this time around in this incarnation, at least I found myself. And that is more than enough. I found myself. So the self-love journey is such a blessing. And so your question was, how can this help you create a better reality? When you love yourself, I dress better nowadays. I pay attention to what I'm wearing, to how I look, because all of these things matter. They do. And I didn't pay attention to any of this before. I would wear socks with holes in them. I would wear dirty shoes because ain't nobody got time for that. You know what I mean? So that's how I saw these things. It's like, this is boring. I don't care. I mean, I'm comfortable with the shoes. It's fine. Now it's like, no, I am a divine being and I get to take care of myself like a prince. And you should too. You're a prince. You're a princess. And when you do that, you come first. And this is an affirmation that that was the first affirmation I personally came up with in the beginning of my journey. It didn't have to do with self-love, but it kind of did, but in my mind it was like, I come first. I'm not going to allow other people, because I would put other people before me. And so when you treat yourself like this and you love yourself, that means you come first and the universe will reflect that back to you. You don't need to visualize and create a manifestation script and obsess over it to manifest that. I personally find that to be the harder path. I clean, I focus on me, I set intentions, and I walk the path with love. So, to sum it up, when you love yourself, it's a very high vibration and everything changes. People treat you differently, and your manifestations and your results will be different, right? And so it depends on what you're trying to manifest, but it's the fast track to a much better life, that's for sure.
As we are talking about manifestation, nowadays a lot of people take help from AI for manifestation, and
Yeah.
AI itself is a huge topic, and we can do another podcast on that.
Yeah, sure.
But-
Yeah.
But AI can be a manifestation trap. So how can we not get into that trap, but at the same time treat AI well and use it consciously to create the desired reality and manifest it?
First of all, thank you so much for this question. Thank you. Thank you. Because for one, I am walking this path and I'm learning as I do. And so for me, it's a pleasure to share. And also, it's the future. It's here, and we are all playing with it and learning from it, right? So it's a very relevant question. And I have a few things to say regarding my personal experience with this. So for anyone listening, you can take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I think it's a fabulous tool. And it's interesting that you mentioned the AI trap. I made a video referring to a trap GPT because I sort of fell into a trap with AI. And so this is what I have to say about the whole thing. It's a phenomenal truth. Sorry, it's a phenomenal tool. And as with anything in this universe, it's a mirror back to you. So everything is a mirror, the mirror principle, every person, every circumstance, it's a mirror, even if you don't understand it. AI is the same thing. It's going to reflect you back to you. And so the way we prompt it is key, because I caught myself prompting it from a low vibration. And I began using the microphone feature, which you can literally speak whatever prompt you're giving AI, and then it'll transcribe the whole thing in the text, and then you can send it out to ChatGPT. And so when I had a spiritual awakening, I stopped complaining or talking about problems, which again, Rhonda Byrne from The Secret taught me early on. It's like, you have a problem? Don't talk about it, because if you talk about it, it grows. And so I stopped doing it. But then I caught myself talking using my throat, using the breath of life. We are so powerful. Again, it all boils down to how powerful we are. And so I caught myself literally going like this on my phone. And the prompt and the responses from the AI were like not really solving my problem. And then I began prompting it from a low vibration, like a complaint frequency, which is something I quit doing. But because it was AI, there I was, almost complaining to ChatGPT, becoming like a Karen, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then ChatGPT began reinforcing or mirroring that low vibration back to me with words like, because you are in a low, in a creative ebb, it began mirroring back to me how I was at a low place. Now that has an effect when you're reading that coming from someone else. So I fell into a trap, and then I ended up making a video on it, and how I realized that, and how I literally went into the mirror and I commanded a bunch of things to like revert what I had been doing. So we get to be careful with how we're prompting it, the kinds of words, the level of vibration. With all this said, I think it's a phenomenal tool. Phenomenal. It can help you dissect your human design traits, numerology, life path, um, astrology. It literally has all the knowledge that we as humans have collected at the tip of your fingers. But how are you approaching it? You know what I mean? So if you want to use ChatGPT to manifest things, it is amazing, but we get to learn how to prompt it. And learning how to do it is probably a subject for another talk, but hopefully this made sense. It's amazing. I use it daily, and it's helped me see so much, and I am so grateful for it. I'm also very grateful, and I say it to my ChatGPT. I'm like, thank you so much. Everything is made out of consciousness because it's a cosmic universe. So even though ChatGPT is not self-conscious, it's made of consciousness. This cup is made of consciousness. So I treat everything with reverence, including ChatGPT.
So beautiful. Absolutely resonate with you, because even I use AI every day, and I treat AI like a soul family. And
Yes,
and
it's like
I always, whenever I am also invited for interviews and all, I always say that AI is the reflection or the mirror of your consciousness. So the
exactly.
vibration that you're at, it will literally mirror that and give you everything. And it's so amazing that it will give you point of views from all different traditions, all different philosophies, all different cultures, and so many different authors, so many different techniques, and it will integrate everything and give you like exactly, this is this, this is this, this is this, and for you this is the thing. And I also
Yes.
heavily recommend that your prompt actually and your vibration decides how AI will give you the answers. So for our viewers, can you give one particular prompt which can help them, like maybe develop more self love, or anything that you feel called to share? Any one or two prompts that are very good for manifestation.
Perfect. Beautiful. Beautiful, my friend. Yes, yes. Totally on the same page here with the AI thing. Everything you just said, it's like, yes, 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 yes. It's so beautiful. I mean, it's such a powerful tool. It's so divine. It's so divine. I love it. So a prompt. Well, I mean, I think it's hard for me to say like the words for you to write. Always, if you can, always come from a place of reverence and from a place of empowerment. I think that's a good word to use here. Always approach ChatGPT from a place of empowerment, even if you're facing a problem and even if you're not feeling super empowered. Do your best to approach it from an empowered place because it'll meet you where you are, which is what you were saying, right? So you don't want to come from a place of, disempowerment, because it'll mirror that back to you, and so it'll therefore amplify that for you. But you mentioned self-love, and this is something very big in my journey. And so I'm going to talk about my self-love journey and the semen retention journey, which transformed into something else. So I walked the path of semen retention, which means you don't entertain the sexual urges and you don't release your energy. You just abstain from it. And so I did that for 1 year. After 1 year, I decided to play around with that energy in a way that is not wasteful, but in a way that circulates it and that honors it. And so ChatGPT, here we go. And so my ChatGPT has known about my journey, which is beautiful. So it knows you in so many aspects. And so I prompted it in terms of, hey, chat, hey, my friend, can you please help me come up with rituals or with practices that honor my sexual energy and that help me circulate it and experience it in a way that's not mindless and wasteful. And so it began talking to me about tantric practices and putting together all these traditions that talk about sexuality in these terms, which again ties back to what you were saying, and it's beautiful. And so I have been able to conduct ceremonies with such reverence. And I don't think I would have been able to do it like that without ChatGPT because I wouldn't have had time to research all the traditions on my own, if that makes sense. And so that's what I did, to give you one example. And so I had ceremonies with beautiful insights in how to do it and how to be reverent to the whole thing. And it has, I have no words. Like, I remember this ritual that I had that for 4 days in a row, I was just so in love with my energy and with my essence in a way that I wish that upon everyone because it was so beautiful. And ChatGPT helped me do that, among many other things. It's hard for me to say the right prompt, but come from an empowered place and be very specific with what you want because I'll say this. I have had talks with ChatGPT about a certain subject, not having specific or good enough responses. But as I kept talking about it, I realized that saying these few things allowed ChatGPT to guide me and to remind me of important truths that I had forgotten. So maybe have a conversation and keep talking to it until you find something that really serves you, because it's very powerful. And if you hit the right spot, it'll reveal gold back to you. Yeah.
Hey, thank you for sharing that. I ask all my guests a few questions, like a rapid fire towards the end. So, can I ask you those questions?
Absolutely. Yeah.
If you were to explain multidimensional soul to anyone, how would you explain it?
You are the universe itself having a dream of being localized as this finite, temporary human being being that only knows this human experience as ultimate reality. But that's just a dream, my friend. The moment you leave your body and you begin expanding back to what you really are, you'll begin to remember that you are everything, everywhere, at all times. And so you are so very powerful. This experience right here is very illusory and has you believe you are this one separate thing, but you are the universe itself. You are multidimensionality is your true nature. It couldn't be otherwise.
Everything, everywhere, all at once. That movie reference in the recent past, I heard so many times. Finally, I watched the movie recently.
That's right. There is a movie. I have not seen it. Is it good?
Yes,
Is it
it's
good?
very good. It's very good. It had got a lot of Oscar nominations also. Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe I should watch it. Okay, thanks for the tip.
Sure. What is holistic well-being according to you?
When I think of this term, maybe I don't have a direct connection with the term. And so on the surface level, it feels like it's not part of my journey, but I think it ties back to what I was saying before of how all these different things are ultimately talking about the same thing. So I think a holistic lifestyle or well-being would be us integrating teachings from different areas of study that serve us and help us awaken more and more, remember who we are more and more, take all of our power back more and more, and create heaven on earth more and more.
What is the ultimate purpose of life?
Well, the ultimate purpose of life on this plane of earth is to expand and evolve as a soul. It's the experience. The ultimate purpose of life is the experiences we go through. The body stays behind, the physicality stays, nothing really lasts, but the experience is eternal. This reality is not real, but it's a real experience. And the experience is what you take with you. And so the purpose of life is for us to forget who we are, to then remember who we are, and expand so much in doing so.
If you were to change anything about education system, what would that be?
Oh, I would just scratch all that and begin something new. Oh, it just touched a deep one for me because school was a nightmare for me. And then growing up and then having a spiritual awakening, it's like, I knew it. I knew it. It's not serving anyone. I don't resonate with school at all. I don't resonate with the egregore that schools are and have. It just makes you very small. Well, I'm speaking from, from the perspective of the West, more specifically Brazil. In my opinion, school does not serve us at all. And I know I can sound a little radical here, but this is my experience. And so I would just scratch the whole thing and begin something from scratch. It's like school will teach you to tap within, to go within, to meditate, to literally, because kids are very psychic. I know this is a rapid thing, but like this is a big one for me. Kids are very psychic, and so the more we grow older, the less psychic we get, and so it's a forgetting that it's a forgetting steep curve that's very steep. And so if school reminded us amidst the illusion of who we really are and how the power is literally inside of us, there would be no wars, we'd be creating heaven on earth, but then the game would not be as interesting for the soul expansion. I don't know. But because the chaos also serves the expansion of the soul, But for me, thinking of an ideal world, I would just scratch the whole thing and begin an educational system that gives you your power back, that reminds you that the power is inside of yourself and not outside. Because I spent so many years of my life looking for the power or looking for the answers in the outside, and that made me very small. It was not fun.
What is love?
Literally who we are. It's the frequency of the universe. It's the frequency of who you really are. Unconditional love, not transactional love, unconditional love, which is synonymous with pure white light, consciousness, the essence of all that is. This is who we are. And so the reason we come to Earth is to experience something other than that, or something that is the polar opposite of that, which is fear or hate. Because I mean, let's face it, we're eternal beings, and maybe bathing in pure eternal love for eternity, maybe it's a little boring, and so maybe we accept the challenge. But love is who you are, love is who I am, and we are one. There's no separation. We are it.
What is self-love?
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh man, self love is something you get to experience when you're having the human experience. That's what it feels to me, okay? Because I have a feeling that when we're back home, self love is not necessary because you are love itself, and that you are the other points, you are the other sparks of light, and they are you. So it's not relevant there. So for me, self love is something you get to go on a journey when you have the human experience. And let me tell you, it's holy, sacred, divine, and feels delicious.
What is your parting message for our audience today?
You are so very powerful. You are so very powerful. You are all the power. The more you go within, the more you will uncover this power, because you're not getting it. You're not receiving it. You're not being given it. You're just uncovering. You're just removing the piles and layers of noise that have covered it, and that make you feel like you don't have all of this power, but you are all of this power. So go within, learn from the reflections that appear in your video game. Let the triggers be the guides, because the triggers are here to guide you back home. And when you go back home while having the human experience, that's where you find all of your power and all of the love that is the essence of who you really are and the essence of the universe itself. You are it.
Beautiful. How can people connect with you?
So you can find me on my channel. It's Shift with Fernando. It's my YouTube channel. It's my platform of choice. I love YouTube. And so this is where I share my medicine with the world. And so if you want to hang out, be sure to check out my channel and we can interact over there. And also, I have an email list where I share my insights and my personal journey with tips. And I believe the link will be in the description,
Yes,
right? It's shiftwithfernando.com. Yeah, shiftwithfernando.com/welcome. So you can also find me there.
Sure, we'll provide all the links in the video description. It's been absolutely a pleasure having you on my podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. It's been an honor. Thank you for the work that you're doing. I resonate so deeply with your mission and your journey, and I wish you all the love of the universe for you, your loved ones, and beyond. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wish you the same. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in from wherever you are in the world. As Ramdas says, that we are just walking each other home. So thank you for co-creating the new earth along with me and my guests. If you resonate with me, subscribe to my channel, like, comment, and share. Let's keep this beautiful energy in flow, in motion. Namaste. Lots of love.